That's a pretty natural fear, right? I deal with that. I actually might, you and me might be very similar on the fears right now, right? To be honest, I also have been, damn, in the Bay Area, I'm getting 50 plus deals, sorry, 50K plus deals every time. And there should be some 20s in there,
Right.
some 25s, right? That means we're missing money on the table and we're not taking enough risks. And it's just because it always, exactly like you said, it sucks to cancel on a seller. It
Right.
blows, right? But you have to be willing to take the failures, right? You have to be willing to take L's. Otherwise, you're not going to learn and you're not going to grow. So I 100% agree. Yeah, that is 100% necessary.
Yeah. It's funny that if, again, going back to the KPIs I was talking about, when I said that our average assignment fee was 55,000 and then we're at a 10 out of 10 deals closed, and you're like, nice. But it's funny that people would look at that and go, that must be amazing to have those KPIs. But if you really deconstruct that, you're like, wait a minute. That means he's only taking down the home runs and that the easy closings. And so if you guys, your numbers are above average, try to identify why that is. It might be because you're not taking enough risk. So it's a mind trip, right?
I love it. So let's keep going back with your story. So I'm gonna get you back to where you were before. You joined Sub 2. You had so many different things going on and different stuff happening. How did you, so you were, all right, I need to just stick to my acquisitions business. This is what I'm good at, right? When you were doing that, how did you find your partner? How did that happen? Let's start there, because that sounds like where there might have been a turning point, if I'm wrong, where there was a turning point of what is happening with your wholesaling business and virtual assistant business. So talk about that a little bit.
So great question. I'm going to pick my words carefully here. I was in a previous partnership that did not go well at all. I won't go into details about it, but I will say that Alex was one of my acquisition managers from that. And when times got tough in that original partnership, my other acquisitions, they kind of backed out. They're, hey, this is not working out for us. We don't understand what's going on, but we're done. Alex did the exact opposite. When times got tough, he didn't double down, he quadrupled down. He made 4 times as many calls. He tried to go on more appointments and stuff like that. And also he was local here in Utah. Some of the other people on my team I had just virtual. And so he really showed me that his personality and his work ethic were something that a lot of people really lacked. And for me, I fell in love with the guy very early on. Well, he came to me and said, hey, Jeremy, now that this partnership that you're in is kind of falling apart, what could I do to earn equity in your business? If you guys know, there's the term entrepreneur, but there's also the term an intrapreneur. And an intrapreneur is somebody that wants to come into an existing business because they see the value in it. They love the culture. They love the mission statement, whatever it is. And they'll come in and they'll take a mother bird to an abandoned nest, and they will come in and try to make that and nourish those baby birds. And that's what Alex did. And he said to me, he goes, what could I do to earn your equity? Earn your partnership? And I said, I don't want to be nationwide any longer. I don't want to do JVs anymore. Yeah. No offense against JVs, but 99% of them are all trash that, most students or most investors, they don't really understand what a deal is. On top of that, in Sub 2, in the beginning, when I first joined Sub 2, which is relatively early on, I was getting a lot of JV deals that would go through to the end. And that's because there were less closers. Well, as Sub 2 progressed and more closers started to come out of the woodwork and all the Zooms where they're on the side chat, I'm a closer, we started to see that we got less quality leads, and we got either complete trash or we got deals that were extremely difficult to close. There was a probate stacked on top of a tax delinquency on top of the auction. And it was very hard for us to close those, and it took up all of our time. And so I said to Alex, I go, I don't want to be nationwide anymore. If we got a deal in rural West Virginia, I'm having to try to find boots on the ground. I'm trying to have my bandwidth was spread so thin that I did not want to be nationwide. And so I said to him, if you could build a marketing system for Utah to where we are going direct to seller, and I want to have a strong direct to seller marketing system, and you're going to build out the templates, the texting, the cold calling, you're going to build out all the systems behind it, you'll earn equity. You'll earn my partnership. And
Love it.
he did exactly that. We turned off all of our marketing from the middle of December of 2021. And like I said, we went to that other mastermind. We were at that mastermind at the very end of February. We turned on our marketing on March 3rd, meaning that was our first time cold calling.
What year is this?
This is 2022.
Okay.
And then from March 3rd until May 30th is when we did the 241,000, I think, in net. So
let's go.
So it was good. And so by proof of concept, we understood that we built a good system behind it. That, I guess that kind of leads me to the next step, which is we're in an entrepreneurial roller coaster, right? We were stoked. We're doing super, super well. We're doing great. It's time to scale. So we hire on 4 new acquisition managers and we trained them. This was May that we hired them on. And we trained them how to give cash offers, how to give basic creative offers and stuff.
Wait, sorry. Did I understand that right? Wait, hold on. Maybe I misunderstood that. Did you go? So you started doing cold calling in March of 2022, and then by May 2022?
No. So that previous partnership that I was in, I had 4 acquisitions, 3 dispositions, transaction coordinator, and then myself, and then 2 other individuals that were all kind of the managers of the different departments. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
So then when that partnership fell apart basically in December of 2021. And then that's when Alex said to me, let's start a business. And so for 3.5 months, we did no marketing at all. And we were building out all of our CRM. We were building out our new systems. We were on Podio before. We were basically going all in and going, we're going to build a really good direct to seller marketing system. So it was Alex and I. In March 3rd is when we turned it on. And then just the 2 of us, we hit that 241,000 mark. Then we go, okay, now that we know that
in 2 months.
Yeah, 2.5.
That's insane, guys.
It also,
I just want people to understand that's absolutely insane that they turned on a marketing system and within 2 months they had $225,000. That's absolutely sick.
But let me caveat to that, little asterisk next to that. You're not going to expect that from your first time building a system. Okay. Remember, I had a marketing company. I started Cash Quick Buyers. I had actual Ryan Cokerhans, who's a player in Sub 2. He was my first lead manager. Then I was approached by that other partner. So then I put my business to the side. Then we did that business. We built out another CRM, another system. So I had experience building out the right operating systems and CRM. So if this is your first time ever building out a marketing system, it's probably not going to go that smooth unless you have a mentor that's actually walking you through it and showing you what softwares to use and what dialers to use and all that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, yeah, those are good numbers, but don't expect that if you just decide to become an investor today, that in 2.5 months, that's going to be the regular. Please don't expect
that. That's unheard of is what I'm trying to say. I don't think I've ever heard of somebody that quick turning on a marketing system and then it immediately develops that type of, you said net too. You didn't say, you said revenue. That's net.
We acquired some properties as well. But I'll tell you right now, what that was we were going direct to seller, but we were going very niche data. We were pulling directly from the counties, the courts, all that stuff. We built a very curated system to do that. And at the time in 2021 and 2022, that was almost necessary here in Utah. We couldn't be a machine gunner, right? I couldn't just send out mass text to everybody because to get those deals, you had to be reaching out to pain points. We all know that, right? We understand that. Now that's not as necessary. It's surprising because now just people living in life with the economy the way it is. Now we're finding we're getting more deals just off of a regular equity list than we would off of any other deal, right? Or any other list. So anyway, he proved to me that he earned my partnership. And then in May, we decided to hire on 4 new acquisition managers. My wife was my TC at that time. I was going to handle dispo. Alex was going to handle the acquisition management, and I was going to handle sales training and stuff. And then what we didn't expect was when the market dropped in July, Utah, if you didn't know this, Provo, Utah, which is just south of here, and this whole entire area was the #1 market drop in the entire nation. And reason being is because we appreciated so quickly that every homeowner wanted to capture their equity. And because we had such a high investor population here, every homeowner is getting called by every wholesaler, and every wholesaler is kind of just educating them on where the market is. So normally markets, they have a trailing effect where homeowners may not realize what's happening in the market until a few months back, but the investor knows right away because this is what we do every day. Well, in this case, the investors were literally telling the homeowners that, oh, the market is dropping, you should sell. And so every homeowner put their market or their property on the market, and price drop, price drop, price drop.
Love it.
Our best zip codes that were out here, they had in a month and a half, they had a 20 and a 30% drop in value, right?
Love it.
That was damaging to us. That was very damaging to us, because what that did was it created a problem with all of our contracts that we had in our system.
Yeah.
We had to cancel all of them. The numbers didn't work. And then on top of that, every investor out here, every fix and flipper basically went on strike because they're, I'm not going to buy a property. And then you've also got the sellers that are, why would I sell my home at a 2.5% interest rate when if I do that, I have to now get a 7% interest rate?
Yeah.
So literally in July, our business screeched to a halt.
Right.
It just died. I mean, and our acquisition managers, we realized that they weren't making the calls they were trying to make. While we really focus on KPIs, we realized that we want to try to hit every lead manager. We want them to try to hit at least 75 dials per day. But what we said to them was, we want you to hit a minimum of 75 dials per day. Well, guess what? They might do 75 dials in the first week or two of being hired, but they're Americans. And eventually they're going to get lazy. And so those 75 became 50, became 40, became 20. And then we realized, because this was so discouraging, that our lead managers and our acquisition managers stopped wanting to make calls, do anything. And granted, by the way, I totally failed to mention, I've got my VAs in the background. I've got my data scraping VAs. I've got my cold callers, my SMSers. They've always been there. But nonetheless, the Americans kind of started to fail us. And so out of those 4, we kept one. He's still on my team right now. He's a sales manager and absolutely incredible. But we had to wait through the storm, which was the end of last year. And we were broken. I mean, literally, I remember I went to a mastermind and I was surprised that everybody else was, no, everything's fine. But Utah, I'll put it this way, one of the top hard money lenders out here that I have a great relationship with, he usually funded between 30 and 80 deals every single month. And the last quarter of 2022, he did 3.
Damn, crazy.
So, yeah. So Utah basically stopped. Well, excuse me. Utah has now rebounded. We're actually seeing prices are beginning to increase. I don't know if that's what's called a dead cat bounce, meaning it might dip again when the economy keeps doing what it's doing. But right now, I think what happened was investors, they stopped working for about 3 to 4 months. Their contractors started getting hungry. And now those investors that were scared before are now, I can't just sit on the sidelines and do nothing. I'm going to keep business as usual. So we still are selling deals. We're keeping deals and stuff like that. But yeah, once January rolled around, we did really, really well again. February, I think we
So let me ask you something real quick.
Yeah.
How do you deal with when your business is doing terribly? Awful. To go from, damn, we did 222,000 in 2 months to nothing, to screeching halt.
Okay.
How do you deal with that? Because I feel that's the difference between who's successful and who isn't, is because that happens to everyone. It's happened to me. Right. I had that happen also at 2022. There was 3 or 4 months where I maybe had 1 deal or so, right? And this happens, right? And there might be other times where that happens again in my business. I don't know, right? Anything can happen with markets and things that, right? So how do you emotionally handle that? How do you deal with when your business is completely dying on you or just stop for some reason?
Dude, I love your questions. I love it. So, and the reason I love this question so much is that I've got the perfect answer for it. When business is not going well, do your best at finding people where their business is doing well. And what I mean by that is that's obvious. Duh. You always want to surround yourself with people that are doing more than you, but misery loves company. And so when our business wasn't doing well, I wanted to talk to other people where their businesses were not doing well, because it reaffirmed that I'm not a failure. Okay. So hear that for a second.
Yeah.
I wanted to support what was happening in my life by talking to other people that were also having a hard time. Well, I went to a mastermind back in December, and I'm on stage and we're giving our hot seat presentation. And I had just had my newborn baby. I was terrified. I mean, dude, business is not doing anything right now. I've got a new child. I'm freaking out. I'm trying to learn how to be a father and all this kind of stuff. And they're right now, you are making excuses, Jeremy, to justify that you're not doing well. And it's probably because of the market. It's probably because of this and whatever the reasons may be. You are trying to justify your misery by hanging around other people that are also miserable. And I guarantee you, is what they said to me, that I guarantee you, if you go to other investors that are actually doing deals and you find those investors, you're going to realize very quickly that there is a solution to overcome right now. And so that was in December. January, I made it a goal. Alex and I both made it a goal as to not defeat ourselves. And so what did we do? We got back down and dirty. We started making calls again. We didn't care about the buyers. We didn't care about the sellers. We just said, let's double down on what we're doing. Let's try extra hard. And the reason I love that question is because by that answer, February, we netted 181,000.
Nice.
So I'm going through these roller coasters, but I'm overcoming the hard times, figuring out the solutions and doing that. And so now we're in March, we're closing on a couple of deals. That money, the capital we have, we're using it to buy some creative deals. So now we're adding to our portfolio again and stuff like that. But yeah, if you're having a hard time in business, don't try to support your pain by hearing other people's pain. When you're at a funeral and everyone's talking about how sad they are, all it does is make you want to cry and make you want to be more sad, versus go to a rock concert if you're sad and try to enjoy yourself. It's kind of what we learned, is that if we're having a hard time, don't wallow in it. If I hear Alex that's having a hard time, I go, yo, let's snap out of it. Let's go door knock, or let's make some calls. Let's get a contract. Or a couple of weeks ago, we're like, hey, we're not getting enough contracts. We're not making enough offers. Let's go and do that. And so Alex is right now with Pedro, and they are going on, I think, 3 different appointments today. And last week we got 4 contracts. And because we go, okay, we set our goals, we know what we need to achieve. And the truth of the matter is, the lazier you are, the less you're going to do. We are doing things that other people don't want to do. The fortune is sitting behind those chores that you put aside, right? If you just say,
I love that. Say that one more time for the people.
The fortune is hiding behind the chores that you don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can just execute those chores every single day. I try to have the beginning of the day, eat the frog. I try to have what's going to push the needle forward today, get that done. And then the rest of the day is just going to be productive past that point. But again, the truth of the matter is, to overcome any problem in your business is, don't let depression control your emotions, and don't let that control your actions, because we all admit, when we're depressed, we don't want to get out of bed. We want to have ice cream. You know, we don't want to go to the gym. When we're depressed, we allow that to control our actions. And as long as you can try to overcome that and go, I know that I might be depressed today, but I know that if I go to the gym, if I eat healthy, if I go to sleep at a good hour, tomorrow I'm going to have the energy to overcome this depression and thus fix the problem. And so I know people will say depression is clinical and you can't fix that, yada, yada, yada. But no, you can. You can. You could overcome depression by overcoming your challenges and realizing that you're better than what you thought you were. That makes sense.
I love that. I love that answer so much, because it's so true in so many different ways, right, guys? It's how you get through. I love the changing your environment answer, basically. That's how I've thought about it a lot, in a lot of different ways when I talk to people. If you're struggling, get around people who aren't struggling. If you're depressed, get around happy people. This is even though you don't want to, because naturally you want to be around people like you. It's him. Why would I want to? It's God. I hear Jeremy right now. It's, man, I'm not doing 100K a month like Jeremy is, or whatever, right? So now I don't want to be around him. I want to be around people doing it like me. And then it's just a downward spiral, basically, right? And that's exactly what you don't want to happen. You want to be freaking around people who are crushing it, because then you naturally become those people. So I just love that answer, man. That's a good answer too.
Thank you.
So continuing with your story, right? So the market turned, so now it's starting to get better. What were some lessons you that was the emotional lesson, right? Was stick with people who are happy and are doing well in business. But then talk to us a little bit about the business lessons. So what did you guys change, or what did you guys learn from the people who were still being successful even when interest rates went up?
Okay, let's see here. One thing we changed is, as I said prior, we were all niche marketing, right? So we were all reaching out to probate, foreclosures, divorce, evictions, code violations, everything you could imagine we were reaching out to. And when the market needed that, it worked. But now the market doesn't necessarily need that pain. What the market needs now is for us to give as many offers as possible. And so one thing we changed, and it was actually kind of, we were forced to do it. We were on REI Reply. And as I'm sure
Nice.
many of you know, REI
I
Reply
used to be on REI Reply.
used to, exactly. So REI Reply started causing a lot of problems. Because of the TCPA laws and all that stuff. If you didn't understand the way it worked, you've got the carriers, Verizon, and then below that, you've got Twilio, and then Twilio set their own rules for REI Reply to follow. And then REI Reply started basically over-regulating every text going out, and we got shut down for over a month back in November. Yeah, that's another thing to add to it. Not only did the market shift, but our literal marketing system shut down completely. No texts were able to be sent. No calls were able to be made. And we literally
had the same problem in November and December.
Right. So not only did the market shift, but now we're not even talking to sellers. And basically, again, everything just compounded. And so they shut us down in November. It took us, I want to say, just short of a month to fix the problem, because everything they would tell us to do, they're, oh, you need to shorten your text messages. Okay, we do that. We rewrite all of our text templates to go out correctly. And then they go, oh, you didn't do this right. You didn't do this right. We were jumping through 40 different hoops. And it was, again, frustrating, because not only are we not getting deals, we're not talking to sellers, but now my time and Alex's time is spent fixing a CRM and fixing a marketing system that's broken by something we didn't even do to break, right? So November happens, and then we fix it, and then it works for about 2 weeks, and then they shut us down again, and they didn't even have a reason the second time. And they said it was the volume. And so we go, we're done. So remember, I was at all niche marketing, and niche marketing basically meant that I was getting maybe between 50 to 150 new prospects every week, not thousands. It was, again, we're very, very a boutique operation, so to speak.
Gotcha.
Well, because we were leaving REI Reply, we knew that we had to change our marketing system. And so we still keep in the data scraping. We still have all that stuff. And so whether you're going to PropStream or whether you're going directly to the source, there are ways to get data. But then we're also doing the machine gun method. We call one the sniper method. We're sniping in on pain points. And then the other is the machine gun method, which is we're just going high equity, basically. Just anybody who owns a property. Or if we wanted to go low equity, let's say we want to give more subject to offers, then we would go low equity. And there's different strategies to that. But we moved to a system called Launch Control. Launch Control, it's a more expensive texting platform for sure.
But it works.
It works. Are you on it by chance or no?
I actually, when I did direct to seller, I was on it. I'm now direct agent, as you know, but when I did direct to seller, I was on Launch Control.
Gotcha. Well, do you have an affiliate for it? Because if you don't, I'll pump mine.
Pump yours, dude. You can pump whatever. At the very end, I'm going to let you plug whatever you want. So
I don't care. I was just joking. But no, if you guys are looking to do more SMS, Launch Control is not built on Twilio. It's built for the investor. It's built by real estate investors. And so it's a really good system for SMS, but it's also built on mass texting, right? 5,000 a day kind of thing, right? Yeah. So you had to change your marketing system. So that forced us to kind of change around and shift our marketing. So now we're doing both sniper and machine gun. Then that meant that we were, hey, let's get more VAs. One thing we forgot about, by the way, owning Prime Virtuals, we always had VAs working for us, but we forgot that we literally own the company. Why are we not leveraging this as much as humanly possible and bringing in more VAs into our company? And so we started doing that back in the end of December and January, upping that marketing. And again, as long as you know your KPIs, as long as you know what your average cost per lead is for SMS or average cost is for cold call or direct mail or PPC, whatever, as long as you know that, and it's actually a sustainable number that consistently stays where it's at, then okay, we're at $4,000 a month in market spend. If I spend $8,000 a month, then I know that I should potentially double my revenue. And if you can do that correctly, where you scale it at the right time frame and bring in the right amount of people, that's the hardest part, which is basically pushing your lead managers and acquisition managers to their capacity to where you know what they're capable of doing and then doubling that and then bringing on somebody else and then doubling that. And so that's what we're currently doing right now. We're trying to avoid the American team right now. We realize that to bring Americans on, we are all lazy compared to VAs, that they're literally, their job is 8 hours a day. They're going to be cold calling and SMSing. So we're trying to focus on that. So we've gone through shifts of VAs to Americans. Now we're back to VAs. But yeah, I think that's the answer.
I love it so much. You and me mirror businesses in a lot of different ways. And just, I'm the agent outreach version of you. I literally, if I told you my story, it's very similar in a lot of different ways. Some differences, but also some similarities. So we're reaching the hour. There's one last question I ask at the end of these that I always asking my guest, which is, Jeremy, if you could go back to yourself right before you're about to jump into real estate, this is the right before the moment you're all right, I'm doing it. Right before that moment, whatever that moment was. If you could go back to that guy, knowing everything you know now, what would you say to him?
Ooh. Okay, this is a good question. If I were to go back to the Jeremy just before real estate, I would probably say focus on one thing and find the people that you can hire to build that one thing for you. And to explain that a little bit deeper, I was very afraid when I finally started getting into real estate. I was very afraid at spending money. I mean, do you want to know the very first dollar that I spent towards real estate was getting a pro account on Bigger Pockets? And whatever that costs. What is that? $130 or something like that for the year?
I thought it was like $10 or something.
No, it's like over 100. It's somewhere. Anyway, I'm doing it. I'm spending $100 on education. And that was crazy to me because I was so afraid of spending money. And now I go, oh, dude, $5,000, just go. If it's going to
see what happens.
Yeah. If it's going to elevate my business, 5,000, 10,000, I don't care. Because what I realize now is fixing my accounting issues right now, by the way, that was a pain of mine. We were dealing with some bad accountants. And so trying to fix that, I was trying to do it myself. And now I'm just going to pay someone, get it done. Right. I don't care how much it costs, get it done. I have the capital to do so. So what I'll say is, Jeremy, you came into this environment with some capital. If I didn't have any money, maybe it would have been a little bit different. But what I should focus on is trying to sniper focus on one thing and finding the people that know how to do it and paying for the education, paying for the mentorship, paying for the right ways to go about it, because the tuition of life is a lot more expensive than the cost to bring people that know more than you onto your team.
Absolutely love it. That's a great way of saying it. My man, that was freaking awesome. Your story is sick. Thank you so much for coming on Skorch the Fears. What can the people do for you? What do you need? Where can the people send? I mean, I guess you don't do JV deals, so you don't want people sending you deals, or what?
And Utah, Utah, anything Utah. I'm happy with Utah. I'm actually also in Vegas. Vegas and Utah.
How do they hit you up? How do they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, the Jeremy Davis. And then I am very shortly, if you see behind me, this is my podcast studio that I'm about to get up and running. Let's
go.
And so if you guys want to subscribe on my YouTube, it's going to be youtube.com/@the Jeremy Davis. Same thing. So I'd love that. I think subscribers is all I really care about. And if you guys have any other podcasts that you want me to speak on or be on, I'm starting to do those networking rounds. And obviously I love private money.
Like that?
Bring me all your money. That's it. Exactly that. youtube.com/@the Jeremy Davis. But
guys, do not sleep on this man. This man, based on that story, this man will make you $200,000 in 2 months just by having a 30-minute conversation. I can already tell. I can feel when people are money makers, and you're one of those guys.
Thank you,
for sure.
Awesome, man.
So
it's been an honor.
Hit him up, follow him on Instagram. By the way, you should. I don't know if you've been paying attention to the Instagram verification stuff. Have you been paying attention to this?
The blue check mark?
That what they're doing, they're making a Twitter where you can just pay for it.
Oh yeah, I've already applied.
Okay. It's coming out.
Like 15 a month, I think, for each platform.
16 a month, and it's happening now. I got verified. Chad's verified.
Okay, so I'm on the wait list.
You'll get there.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all I'm saying is look out for it, because I don't know what's happening with it. Jeremy, you are a beast. Thank you so much. Don't hop off. I want to talk to you about a few things after the podcast as well. Everyone else, come on next week. We've got normal time. We'll be back to 6 p.m. MST. Come on, guys. Thank you so much for being on Skorch the Fears. Obviously, comment and subscribe if you're enjoying this type of content. I swear to God, this is the week where I'm gonna do my first YouTube video that isn't my podcast. I've been screwing up on this because I've been focusing so much on Instagram, but I need to be. You will be getting a lot more YouTube content coming from me. Obviously, if you're trying to do deals with me in the Bay Area, Sacramento, or Colorado, those are my markets. Hit me up. And then if you're doing Vegas or Utah, hit up Jeremy. Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on. Do you have any last words? Any last words? I'll give you last words.
This is an honor, man. Thank you.
Okay. That's Skorch the Fears, guys. I will see y'all next week. Let's go.